If you go on Pointless, don't go first. Yeah. That's the other thing.
Now, as I said, you do a few things together now, and I guess when you're operating at your level of book sales and being a bestseller, you're kind of moving around an awful lot. But you share something in common, which is to do with the paranormal, I think, a little bit. Because in your lovely home, you've got a ghost, and you seem to take ghosts with you wherever you go.
Yeah, my house is 600 years old. It comes with a resident first, and it doesn't frighten me. You know, we're Irish Catholics, so basically, you know, we all believe in the afterlife anyway. And my mum always said the living can do you more harm than the dead. And I think there's probably a lot of truth in that. So my ghost doesn't bother me. I think yours follows you, doesn't it?
Yeah, in fact, I wrote my kind of ghost story novel, A House on Cold Hill, which was based on a house that I'd lived in the 80s, where it was seriously haunted. When I remember we moved in, we were just actually, I was standing with my then mother-in-law, who was quite fey. I mean, she was a magistrate, quite a straight lady, but she had a fey side. And as we moved into the house, there was a long hallway that opened into this kind of panelled room before you went in to get to the kitchen, and I saw a shadow move across like that. My mother-in-law said, "Did you see that?" And we'd always...
She wasn't a very posh magistrate, apparently.
So very gruff voice. And we'd always been towners, and this was the first time we'd kind of, we did the dream thing of buying the big Georgian wreck in the countryside. And my wife was quite nervous about it, so my then wife, and I thought, I said, no, I didn't see anything. And the next day, I was in my office writing, and I went down about 10:30 to get a cup of coffee. I had to walk through this room to get to the kitchen. And I saw these pinpricks of light floating in the air. And I thought it was maybe my glasses catching the light, and I took them off and they'd gone. And then I went out at lunchtime, took the dog out for a walk, and I met this old man walking down the lane. He said, "How are you getting on with your grey lady?" And I said, "What grey lady?" And he used the house set for the previous owners. And that room that I'd seen these pinpricks of light in, they'd made into a snug. And he said, I was sitting there a Sunday evening watching television, and this woman in grey silk crinoline with a really angry face just came out of the wall, walked past me, and she flicked my face with her dress and disappeared into the wall behind. I was out of there. Won't set foot again.
Seriously, it really does. At the first night in the house, I didn't move in for 9 months because the house was literally falling down when I bought it, so I had to get it. The kitchen had been put in 1959, you'd never smelled anything like it. So I've gone in, we got all the kitchen in, you know, most of it done. And there's sort of like a minstrel's gallery. It's a medieval hall house. H-A-L-L. At times, had me living in a medieval whorehouse with someone I'm really So I've gone on, and my daughter's at one end, you know, of the minstrel's gallery, and I was at the other, and I could hear this walking, and I thought, oh, you know, she was only 8, and I thought, oh, you know, it's a big house, she's lost. And I've gone out of bed and walked down, and she was fast asleep, and that was the first time I ever heard the ghost. And you can hear her one night, I mean, it does happen all the time, it's that they're not, you know, every minute of every day. And then another time I thought, I have radio set there, because the house is really old, you can't have televisions and things in certain parts of the house. So I've always got radio set where radio for, and I could hear this, I thought, oh, I've left the radio on, it was driving me mental. So I looked around the whole house and nothing was on. And I think you just see her occasionally from the top of this minstrel's gallery, and you look down into the library, which is like where that door is. You can see her, and it looks like she's sewing. And her name, I've called her name is Dorothy. And every night when I go to bed, I go, "Good night, Dot. And if you start frightening me, the priest's in and you're out." I think we've come to an understanding.
Martina,
it really doesn't frighten me.
Martina, do you leave your kind of laptop on so that maybe she'll knock up a few chapters for you?
I've tried. But one night I came downstairs and all my televisions in the cinema room everywhere just all come on full blare, but they wasn't on actual channels, it was just, you know, that white noise. And I turned them all off, and that's when me and Dot had our first falling out. And my little dog, you know, there's 2 sets of stairs. It was the servant stairs, I assume, in the big stairs. And my dog will go up the servant stairs and wait at the top of the stairs and won't walk past the library. And you can ask even people from Headline, about 4 in the afternoon, even on the hottest summer day, you can see your breath in there sometimes, even with the heating on. Any time it just goes so cold. And I moved to the other chair. Yeah, just moved to the other chair. I think, you know, I don't know, I believe sometimes with paranormal, it's like a video. Something gets trapped, you're not seeing a ghost, it's just something, a time warp. You're seeing something that repeats, you know, for some reason you see it. But it doesn't frighten me.
Yeah.
I'm in the Peter Kay. Do you remember Peter Kay when he said his little boy had a monster under the bed? And he said, I hope you're more worried about the burglar coming in the window with a knife. I'm sort of pretty much on the Peter Kay with that, yeah.
But Peter, you did in fact have an exorcism somewhere, didn't you? I misremember that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we had it at the house because what then happened with that grey woman, I decided not to tell my wife. She was a lawyer and she came home from work that day.
But she'd heard some stories, come on.
Well, I kept quiet about it, and then the following Sunday my in-laws came to lunch and I took my mother-in-law aside and I said, what did you see that day we were moving in? And she described this woman exactly. So then I said to my wife what I'd seen, and she said, actually I've seen her several times, I didn't want to tell you and spook you. And then we had an exorcism. But it was kind of strange exorcism because it was a guy that I knew called Dominic Walker, who was the chief exorcist of the Church of England, but he was at that time Vicar of Brighton, or St Peter's Brighton. And every diocese in England has a Catholic and a Protestant they call them ministers of deliverance. And he came, and I was expecting bell book and candle and the communion and all that, and he just stood there.
You should have run the Catholic one.
Yeah, well, the Anglican one just stood there and said, go away.
Okay, I know you think this is a crime festival, so we'll move on to talk about crime now. So you've got a book just out, which I've actually read this out, and you've got a book coming out pretty soon, which we've all seen a little excerpt from, I think. We've all in our goodie bags have got a bit of damaged. But Peter, I know your launch was the other day at the football stadium down in Sussex. Tell us about your new book.
I always wanted to write a book that took place over 24 hours. And in fact, this takes place over 36 hours, Dead If You Don't. And it's about a kidnap, because kidnaps are really the fastest operations that the police tend to have. Most kidnaps are resolved very fast, and the longer they go on, the less likely that a good outcome is. But I was asked by Sussex Police if I could write something about the Albanian community. Any of you who've read a newspaper this week will have seen the Albanians are now the #1 cocaine dealers in the UK. And they are very brutal. Culturally, they do not trust the police.